I'll start the recording. So, welcome everyone to the fourth part of our NVivo training, where today we're going to be learning about queries, which I love. I don't know why this says part two. I can change that. Part four, queries. Um, I've been meaning to change that for ages. Anyway, what we're going to look at today are a bunch of features in NVivo that are really good at leveraging some of the computational stuff that NVivo can do. So this is where it's sort of, we've used it as a kind of nice little interface through which to do qualitative analysis, and that's been really fun and interesting. Today we're going to look at how there's a few advanced features that can really help us out. And so there's kind of like 8 things to look at today, but you can split them into things that are of quite specific technical skills that we're going to learn, and then a few kind of broader things. So we want to learn about certain types of queries that I think are quite useful and will help you in a lot of different contexts. So that's text queries, word frequencies, cross tables, and it's not a framework matrix, it's matrix coding. They're 2 different things that I now realize. And at a deeper level, what I hope to do and to learn through for you to learn today, long week, is how to use NVivo's sample project. It's a project that NVivo comes with, and we're going to use it today because it's going to give us a complete finished data set that we can use for analysis rather than relying on the kind of like patchwork of analysis that is probably pretty inconsistently done between all of us today. We're going to learn how to use that and how that can be quite a helpful reference tool for future work, for like trying stuff out. Like I use it all the time, not just because I teach it, but if I ever need to like try something in NVivo and be like, oh, like can you do this? I'll open up a copy of the sample project, play around with it, and then if it works, I'll be like, okay, fine. How did that work? I'll then try and translate that over into my own research project. We also want to look at how and understand how queries rely on a well-structured project. And what I mean by that is one that, understands where cases are meant to be used, how we can use classifications, and what our codes can do. And hopefully that all becomes really clear today. And also the general structure of queries, what parameters are, what it means to look at parameters and to change them and adjust them, and how and why we would want to save these queries that we could then recall and deploy at a later date. So there's lots of stuff that we're going to learn today. And hopefully it's not too overwhelming. It's probably one of my favorite ones to teach. I really like this session because I love the queries function, and I think it starts tying together a lot of what we've learned at a kind of slightly more advanced level. I think that they're really fun. I love using them. So we'll see how we go today. And of course, like small group, any questions, feel free to unmute, ask away. Um, there's lots of capacity for that. Before I get started, does anyone have anything they'd like to ask? No, easy. Okay. So what we've done so far, right, is in the first part, we've looked at getting our files into NVivo and coding them. We've learned how to create the cases and the classifications. We've learned how to keep track of that with the memos, the annotations, and the maps and the framework matrix that we looked at last week. And if you need any of the recordings, that email address you can use to request them. But also, we've got like a Slack channel that you can join as well. Now, the first 3 parts were about eventually producing like a finished set of qualitative analysis, right? Like you've gone through, you've done your coding, and this is, today and tomorrow is about finalizing that, tying it together, creating certain research outputs that are either going to sort of directly end up in a publication or are going to be very useful organizational and presentational tools to help you with your writing and the development of a written results output. So that's the kind of focus from parts 4 and 5. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move over to NVivo and I'm going to show you how to create a copy of the sample project. Now I just had my NVivo open and it is not showing up. So maybe it is not open again. I am having so much luck so far with, yes, it appears it has crashed again. So I'm going to open my NVivo up, and what you're going to want to do is to make sure that you're opening up NVivo for the first time. So close everything, save everything, and open it up for the first time again, so you can follow along with what I'm about to do here. because the only, well, not the only way, but the easiest way to create a copy of the sample project is to do so from the starter screen. So here I am, starter screen, see all of my trainings. And on the Windows version, we actually get a couple of different sample projects. We get an automated insights one, and we get a multi-method one. And that's the one that we're going to open today. It's the multi-method one. And if we click on it, it'll open up a copy. It takes a little bit of time to set up and to unpack it, but we'll end up with a very nice copy of a sample project. Now, this project uses a lot of the data that we are familiar with. So if we've been working with Barbara's interviews and Dorothy's interviews, they all show up in this project. We can skip the tour and we can open up this little overview file to see what the project is about. And then I'll walk you through some of the structure. So it's a 2-year study, which involves a load of different data types. And part of this study, the reason why it's in NVivo in the way that it is it is designed to show you everything that NVivo can do, not necessarily everything that you should do in your own project. And that's why I don't teach it straight away. Like, I don't just start the course by opening up a sample project and then kind of walking you through it. I just wanted to open it today so that we've already got a good foundational understanding of how the project is working. Because if you didn't know anything about NVivo, you'd think that there's only one file in here. But if we open up the files area, we can see that there are a bunch of different folders. There are some area and township data. A lot of that is image data. It's like little image survey data. We also have our interviews from Barbara, Dorothy, Charles. There's actually a ton of interviews in here. There are interviews that are not just from sort of written textual transcriptions and things like that. There are also there's an audio file, there's an audio interview, and there's also a video interview as well. And so you can see here they've got like this one here is a data set, right? So that's a spreadsheet. They've got some pictures, they've got aerial data, they've got GIS outputs and stuff like that. When you open up a project in NVivo for the first time, it's just like a good thing to keep in mind and to sort of be aware of. It can sometimes chug a bit when you're just starting to explore it for the first time. It normally doesn't happen when you're creating your own projects, and you create your own project, you have it open and stuff like that. But with things like the sample project, it can take a little bit of time for NVivo to get up and running. So the one area that we're going to want to open up today, just to make sure that it's kind of like working properly, is just our interviews folder, because that's what we're going to be using to run a fair few of the queries. And then we're also going to open up our codes area as well and see what they've done there. There's a few interesting things to point out with the way that they've done their interviews, and I want to talk about that a little bit as well, because it can be a little bit overwhelming the first time you see it, which is that for someone like Barbara, you see here for her interview, there are 43 codes and 197 references, which is a lot. Like, you are very unlikely to have that density of coding in a file. The reason why it's so dense is they're pretty much just doing everything they can with this. Like, I think they've done some automatic coding. They've obviously got the cases. They've got like other bits of data and things in there as well. Don't use the sample project as a guide on how to apply a method of qualitative analysis, because you're going to have much better luck yourselves with applying that. However, you can use it as a guide of things that you could code potentially. So yeah, you can see we've got lots of things here. And then if I navigate on down to my codes area and give it a little bit of time to load, because my NVivo is being super slow today, which is just like really fun. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm just going to close everything else in my, going to close everything else that my computer is running to try and make it speed up a little bit. And you can see they've got lots of different codes here. They've got codes like attitude. I've got the descriptions turned on, so just something you might not have. I can show you how to do it if you really want to, but I've got all of these descriptions turned on. You can see how far their codes go down, and you can sort of expand out and see what they're all named like and things like that. A little bit overwhelming, but nothing too troublesome. And today you just want to make sure that you have the sample project opened up. in NVivo because that's what we're going to be using to drive our queries. I just wanted to walk through it. It's got stuff everywhere. Like there are cases, there are classifications, there are notes. There's all of this stuff. It's a really fun thing to explore if exploring software is your thing. And I would strongly recommend that you do take some time to sort of play around with it after the training and use it to troubleshoot any problems that you might have, or if you're wondering if anything's possible in NVivo, it's a really nice place to look. Any questions about the sample projects? No. Alrighty. So we're going to be using this to drive queries. And there are a whole bunch of queries in NVivo, and I'm not going to teach you all of them because I don't think all of them are worth teaching in a kind of general session. So there are a set of functions. They're basically questions, right? Like that you're going to ask NVivo to return certain results to you. They are a set of functions. So we're going to start off by looking at word frequency, but there's also things like text search, matrix coding. There's just a normal coding one. There's crosstab, coding comparison, compound, group, so many. And they all do slightly different things. The coding comparison one is great if you're thinking about doing an intercoder reliability test. You can find the sample project. Great question. Thanks for coming. When you open up NVivo for the first time, so you have to close it and then open it again. If you're on the Mac, you have to do like the force quit thing. But if you open it, there should be on the kind of introductory splash screen where you would normally create a project, there should be a button that says, copy of sample project, create a copy of a mixed methods project or something like that. Should be relatively accessible from that screen and perfect. So yeah, we're going to be using that to drive our queries today. Now, all of these queries are governed by parameters, which are going to allow us to change where our queries are looking, what they're looking for, and how they're looking for it. So it's a few things that we can do there. The first one is we're going to look at word frequency. I'm going to look at word frequency for a couple of reasons. The first is that it is the least technical in terms of the output that you get. Like it is just the frequency of words, but also it shows us how to do and interpret a lot of things about queries. And by looking at word frequency, you can then hopefully kind of generalize that to all of the other queries that we are going to learn today. So all of our queries are buried away in this Explore tab at the top here. So if you click on the Explore tab, you can see we've got 3 queries here, a text search, word frequency, matrix coding, and then all of the other ones are in this queries drop-down menu. And I think on the Windows version, you also have a query wizard, which if you click on it, will kind of ask you some questions about how you want to code your data, and it's useful if you're not across all of the queries. So if you ever need to revisit them, then it's a pretty good wizard to be able to use. Now the first one we're going to be looking at today is word frequency. So we're going to click on word frequency, and on the right hand side here, it is going to open up our parameters window. And so we have a whole heap of parameters, and then the results will eventually be displayed here once we click on Run Query. But let's talk about the parameters a little bit here, because these are going to be quite common reoccurring structures in an NVivo project. So the first thing is, where are we searching? Are we searching in all of our files and all of our externals, or are we searching in selected files? Now, let's imagine that I want to run a word frequency query which addresses everything that my interviewee said, something I brought up last week that I'm interested in doing. And I just want to know the most frequent words spoken by all of my interviewees. Is it appropriate, knowing that these are all of the files in the project, that I search in files and externals, type a response into chat? Should I just leave it on this search everywhere function? Thank you, Christine. Yes, I should just search the interviews, which I can do. However, let's think about that in a little bit more detail. So if I click on selected items, then I open up my files and I can see my interviews. I could select these interviews. Alternatively, because we've worked on these in previous things, I could also select my interview cases as the thing I want to search the word frequency for. Which one assuming that they've been set up the same way that I set them up in part two, should I look at the interview files or should I look at the interview cases? Cases. Perfect. Thanks. Hey, all right. Fantastic. Everyone, full marks, right? And the reason for that is that the interview files contain loads of extra text that we don't really want. Now, I'm not gonna go and show you them, but right, it's got like an introductory paragraph. It's got all of the questions the interviewer said. It's got the names and titles of the interviewer and an interviewee and people like that. So it's a bit difficult to pass. And so what we are going to do is we are going to select our cases. We're going to select our people. Now, a couple of things to be aware of here. If I if I just click interview participants, it doesn't automatically select everyone below. So what you can do is you can click automatically select descendant codes, select that, and then because I don't actually need this interview participants one, I can unselect this and then unselect interview participants, and that way I've got all of my participants selected. And I'm going to click OK. Now we get to choose how many words we want to display. We can go 1,000 by default. The higher number this is, the longer that the query is going to take. You can choose the minimum length of the word. In English, a lot of words that are not particularly useful or relevant are below 3 characters. So those are our, I think we call them function words like of, at, in. Depends on the work that you're doing. Like in my research, I look at a lot of like us and them kind of language, used by particular groups in terms of expressing conspiracy theory. So I normally adjust this down to 2 because us, them, we, those kinds of pronouns are like super useful in my work. So it's just something to be aware of. And then you can choose a few grouping things. Now, on the Mac version, you've only got access to 2 of these grouping things. You've got exact matches, which will just, if give you talk. If you want stemmed words, so that'll group together talk, talking, talked, talks, talker, it'll group them all together. And then with these synonyms, specializations, and generalizations, it gets a little bit fuzzy because it's not often obvious like how NVivo is identifying specializations, generalizations, and synonyms. I kind of recommend staying away from these 3 as a research output. You're certainly able to use them for exploratory purposes, but I wouldn't really recommend integrating any of these results into a paper or something like that because it's not really clear how it gets these results. Yes, you can make educated guesses, but when it comes to academic research, there are other tools out there that'll do a much more transparent job of this. So I'm going to select exact match. Now, if I really like this kind of setup that I have, what I can do is I can click on this Save Criteria button, and I can save this as interview word frequency. And it's going to save it to my query criteria area, and I'll show you where that is. That is simply down here in this Queries tab, the bottom left here, where we have query criteria, and you can see word frequency query in interviews, or it could be interview word frequency. I can't remember what I named it. I think I named it. They do exactly the same thing in the sample project, but you can see that there are a bunch of queries saved here, which are worth having a look at. And if you double click on any of them, it'll just open up the window on the right-hand side here. This is useful if you want to save queries that you're going to run for meetings. So if you want to like run a query in a meeting ahead of time, or if you're planning on running the same query lots and lots of times, like you have your coding framework set up and you know that you're going to be running a certain query, you can just set it up in advance and then run it at different stages of the project to see how the results change, to see if any of the trends change or patterns or anything like that. So there's a lot of ways to sort of use this saving function. So I wanted to point that out as well. Now, once we've got all of our parameters set up, we are going to click on Run Query, and it is going to give us our results. And it gives them to us in a relatively straightforward but detailed way. So we get the word, we get the length of the word, we get how many times it occurs, and we get the percentage that that word represents within the data set that we've selected. So for this one, people makes up 1.79% of the whole data set. Now, at any point, you can right click on this, and you'll get a whole heap of extra contextual stuff, which is really cool. Really cool stuff here. So the first one is you can open up a code preview. So if you wanted to use a word frequency query to generate some codes, potentially let's have a look at development here, right? We know one of our research questions is about perspectives on development. So maybe we just want to click open code preview here. And what that's going to do is it is just going to open up a 5 words to the right, 5 words to the left little code preview that if we wanted to, we could save this as a code for development. And we could use that in our project. So you can use the queries to start kind of like generating some codes. Potentially you might need to include a bit more data, a bit more context here, but it can be quite a useful starting point for some projects. So that's one thing we can do. The other thing we can do is we can export this if we want to. So to create it as a code as well, once you've opened the preview, you can just right click and create it as a code and it'll take those results, chuck them in as a code. You can also export this as well. So you can export this as an Excel file or a Word doc or a PDF or however you like, and send that through to someone or alter the presentation of those results so that they can then appear in something that you're interested in writing. So if you wanted to take this out as like an Excel or a CSV file and then just sort of clean it up a little bit and potentially generate some visualizations, you can certainly do that as well. So there's a lot of right-click functionality with the query area. The final thing that I want to show you, which is not going to be important for every query that we look at, but it is in this one, is something that I know everyone loves. Everyone's a big fan. It's a word cloud. We're going to be doing a word cloud. And the reason why is it shows off the final little feature that queries can have in their interface, which is hard to see otherwise, which is this tiny little right-hand side, these right-hand side tabs here. So we've got summary, word cloud, tree map, and cluster analysis. If you click on any of these, it'll give you a different way of viewing your results, which can be very, very useful when it comes to exploring the results of a query. And I'm going to click on word cloud, and it's going to take a little bit of time to generate. On the Mac version, from memory, it's like instantaneous. So there's some sort of technical wizardry going on there. But on the Windows version, it does take a little bit of time to process. And we now have a word cloud. Now, when we've got that cloud up here in the top of our functions, we've got a few things that we can change, but not much. Like we can basically just sort of change the presentation of it. We don't have a whole heap of different parameters that we can adjust with this visualization. And that's going to be something that is going to reoccur a little bit today, but a lot tomorrow in part 5, which is that NVivo's visualizations, they work, but they're not customizable, which can be quite a bit of a pain if you're intending to use the visualizations that NVivo generates for publication, where there might be quite specific style guides that you need to adhere to. And so one of my recommendations, right, is, this word cloud is just generated based on this data that we already have here. You take this data out, you put it into any other tool that you use for visualizations, and you can usually generate something and make adjustments to it with much more granularity than you would otherwise be able to do in NVivo. And so that's a little tip there. It's going to reoccur. But I want to show you this here because, again, you can export it, you can copy it, you can do all of these things with it, but it shows off this kind of right-hand side panel here. And that's how queries generally work. You select the appropriate parameters, you save the criteria if you got to run it a few times, you run the query, you've got your results that you can then interact with by left-clicking and right-clicking, and then you also have other alternative ways of visualizing the results of your queries. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I've shown in this kind of general process to begin with?
Oh, good. Thanks, Alex.
Wonderful. All right. Well, what I might do then is I am going to get the 4 of you today. I'm going to boot up another presentation just because I can and because I'm feeling like marginally cruel. But I think of the small group that I'm pretty confident that you have got this down quite well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to do 3 queries, and I've set you some challenges for them, and I would like you to try and kind of complete those challenges. And a lot of what they are is they are just using what I have already shown to do it, but with a different query. And so I'm going to go and boot up a new little PowerPoint here, and I'm going to put the 3 challenges that I would like you to do up, and I'm going to give you plenty of time to do them. So the first one that I'd like you to do is a text search query. And I want you to know to tell me how many times the phrase water quality appears among our interviewees. And I want you to tell me who uses the phrase the most. Then I want you to look at the not actually, just gonna change that. So this is where I was telling you that I didn't look at. This is a matrix code. I'd like you to look at the matrix code, and in your rows, I would like you to put your thematic codes, and in your columns, I would like you to put the attitude of the project. And all of that data is in the codes area. So the attitudes are just a type of code that's already in their codes area. It's not the sentiment area of the project. That's something they added later. So just keep that one in mind. And then finally, I would like you to do and create a cross table and to be able to identify which age range discussed the environment code and which spoke about the economy in the most out of that data set. They're a little tricky. I'll admit that the phrasing isn't great. That's intentional on my part because I want people to ask lots of questions. Part of why I do this is, this is the stuff that I run in an in-person class. I'm running it today because we've got lots of time. But I like that people start talking about it. But I think with a small group, I'm going to give you some time to do these. Any questions at all, please do ask. But I'll give you some time to get started and to play around with it, and just see how you go with everything. Sound fun?
Hi, Alex.
Hi,
Um,
Emily.
I haven't opened up the sample project. I'm using my own data, so because I want to learn how to do stuff with my own data.
Yeah, that's
So
fine. Let's come up with a question then. So, do any of these queries here that I've got up on the screen, like doing a text search, looking at intersections of your coding or relating your coding to certain demographic attributes, are any of those of interest to your project?
oh, all of them.
All of
I
them?
think
Yep.
they they sound like they are. I'm kind of maybe yeah, definitely all of them would be. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So I think you can sort of just replace some of
Mm.
the terms there. I mean, this isn't a pass-fail subject, and so if you want to look for a text search about relevant terms from your
Mm.
project and then run it by me, we can think through that. And with all of these little challenges that I've got up here, I am going to sort of show off how you do them after we
Yeah.
get some answers. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm on a Mac,
yep,
and I have to say, so I've done a couple of things where I've tried to be learning about various queries, and every time I go to do them, I have to quit NVivo because every time I try a new one, it comes up with a message. So I just did the word frequency. I had to quit NVivo to do that, and then I could do it. But now I've closed that, and then I try it again, and it goes unable to create the query, an unexpected error occurred, blah blah blah. And the only way to get rid of that is to get out of NVivo. So every time I change, it's really annoying.
yeah,
And then I also am keeping getting a message whenever I go into NVivo that there's an update available, but I haven't done it because I'm worried that that's going to do something with my
yeah.
with the
S-
Melbourne Uni kind of license or whatever. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, I'll answer both of those. The first, I'll get the new version one out of the way. There's no issues with updating
Okay,
to the
so
new
I can go,
version of the
yes,
yeah.
update it.
Yep, you can update it, even
Cool
if it's the
bananas.
update that like there's a new copy of NVivo out. There's NVivo 15 now. And so even if you download NVivo 15 the University of Melbourne's NVivo 14 license still works for that. So you can update however much you like, and that's not going to impact, the your project or the university's operation of NVivo. So that's going to be okay.
Yeah,
Then,
I'm a little bit
yeah,
anxious because when I have had to do something previously and put in the code at, Melbourne Uni's license key again, finding it
yes, they've
was
changed it. They've
unbelievably difficult.
yes,
Yeah.
yep. So
Yeah.
they've changed it again where it is. So I don't know when the last time you put the license key in was, but
4 months ago,
4 months ago.
maybe.
So yeah, you've used the new form that they have.
Oh, I
I think
don't know, but I ended up having to ask
yeah,
the IT people where
yeah.
to find it.
Yes, they changed the location. The reason for that was that the old license keys were, if you just Google searched Uni Melbourne Vivo
Yes.
license keys, you just found them.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Even if you weren't a student or a staff member, they were just showing up in people's search results, which is a bit of a security risk. So they've put them behind a form now. You will, if you download NVivo 15, you will need to put the license key in again. You can send me an email and I can send you a link to the
Cool.
form if you're struggling
Awesome.
to find it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It won't impact your project. The bigger problem is that you're on a Mac and every time you're on a query it crashes.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, new versions might have fixed that. There might be a little bit more stability there, but I don't know that. I'm not a software engineer. I have no idea how NVivo keeps sort of recreating these problems. What I would say is that, wherever you can, if there is an opportunity for you to deploy a Windows version of NVivo, whether that's using something like the research desktop at the university or a staff computer or something like that, you can take your project off of the Mac version, put it into the Windows version. That's my number one recommendation.
But I would be
Um,
mostly using it on my Mac at home.
yeah,
I
but there
don't
are
go
ways.
into uni. I'm part-time and I work
Yeah, yeah,
full-time, like
yeah. So there are ways, and I've done this before because I've taught on a Mac and I struggled with it. There are ways, and even if you're working from home, to sort of like access a Windows computer at the university remotely. And so you can just have a kind of like,
complicated.
yeah, it's a little complicated. It's a lot more straightforward than it used to be. And it is the option I would recommend if you keep finding that, you're not able to do these things. Like if you just have to, for a couple of days, send your project over to Windows just so you can run these operations on it and then get that data and then you move back and you continue to work on the Mac version.
Mhm.
That is the solution. But yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately there is a lot of stability issues. The first time I ever taught on the Mac, I was in like a class like 20 people and I was like, okay, let me show you how to use NVivo, and it immediately crashed. So
Yeah.
it's an ongoing kind of concern there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have a go at doing these things. I don't know if I'm going to remember how to do them, but I'll have a go.
Perfect. I'll be going through them. Has anyone got the results um, from the tech search or any questions? Hi, Christine.
Hi, Alex. Can I piggyback off that question about
Yeah.
the versioning? So I tried to update it. I don't think the same license key worked. Did it work for you? I'm
For
just
an
wondering whether
so it depends on which one you're upgrading from,
I
but
was going from 14 to
yeah, so I went
15.
from 14 to 15 and the NVivo 14 key worked. Um, and that was the communications that I'd received, is because they didn't really, they don't tell everyone exactly when they're releasing this software. Um,
Yeah, okay. I'll
yeah,
give it another go then.
give it another
Thanks.
go. If not, do talk to IT because it might be the case that they have received another license key or something like that. Um, Now that it has been out for a little bit and they just haven't
Hmm.
rolled that out. But yeah, my NVivo 14 key worked for NVivo 15.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
I'm
had a
not
go
familiar
at
with
the
what
tech
role
search
exactly
for water
the
quality.
title is.
I
Yeah.
didn't put it in
Plus.
quotation marks. And so I've got just
Yeah.
water showing up.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to
Yes.
know
I
what
was
to do
guessing that,
next
but
and fix it.
Yeah.
Is it as
So
simple as quote marks?
it is as simple as quote marks. So yeah, I'll show the results. So if you go to text search and we just put in, if we put in, I'll do what you've done just as sort of illustrative example. If we select water quality, and again, I just want to look in my interviewees. So open up these cases and I'll take those and I'll click OK. And I want exact searches. If I run that query, it's going to return results. If I click on reference here, it's going to bring up my results. And you're going to see that it's just going to pick out water. It's going to pick out quality. Sometimes it's going to pick out water quality, but mostly it's just picking out individual instances of them, which is not exactly what we're looking for. And yeah, you're entirely right. If you just stick them in quotation marks and we run it again, then you will get much more specific results. You see for Barbara, I've got 7 there.
Is there case sensitivity on the search?
There is
or
not.
any,
There's not case sensitivity, so you can see here that it's picking out water quality in lowercase, it's picking out water quality in uppercase. The parameters that you do have,
sorry.
you've got wildcards. Oh, sorry, question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the space between them. If you had double spacing, say for example, your interview text transcriber put double spaces in or something like that, what would it do there? Do you know?
Yep. So if I put in double spaces, it's going to give me still the water quality phrase, which, yeah. So I think if you had double spacings, you'd probably want to put them in the phrasings. But yeah, I mean, I think it just treats any separator. Like I assume what it's doing is it's doing some stuff in the background where the spaces aren't necessarily reflected. I wonder if I put in like a bunch of spaces like this, if it would still pull up results. Yeah. So it's just treating, the spaces as just one big space, which is not super uncommon for things like this. And you've got a few other parameters as well. So you've got your wildcards, and you've got ands and ors and things like that. So there's a good bit of flexibility here to look through your project and try and identify. It's quite useful. I've used this in an RA project for identifying like any historical references. Like I was in a meeting and someone's like, "Oh, did they mention like this policy?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let's find out." And you can use a text search to like quickly go across that stuff. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I'm a bit confused as to, so when you're asking it to search in selected items and then items in selected folders, it feels to me that when I go to selected items, I'm actually double selecting. Or am I wrong? So if I go to selected items and I say I want to look in my cases, for example, and the interviews, and it ticks all of the cases for all of my interviews, and I select that, and then I've still got to go to items in selected folders, which is going, am I just selecting cases and interviews again?
You shouldn't need to do a double selection. So with my one, right, it's searching in selected items, and I just click on that, and this is the only area that I'm looking in. So I'm only looking in here. So there shouldn't be a second question.
Mine wasn't letting me run it without. I'll try doing it again.
Yeah. I mean, it does sound like you're running into like a bit of a technical nightmare.
I love my computer.
Yeah, how cool.
I don't want you to make me hate my computer.
I would never do that. But yeah, it should just be the case that, you only need to click on one of these 3 things here. You should just be able to click on selected items and then select an area which has data in it. And so, it might be one thing that could happen is if you do select cases, it should select everything automatically. If it's not doing that, it could be because this automatically select subfolders thing isn't ticked. But in any case, we're looking for specificity. So we're going through and selecting each of our kind of individual cases in the project that have data in them. So I know that if I was to go to my cases area and if I was to double click on these and open these up, I know that Barbara's case contains all of the things that Barbara said and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Has anyone had a play around with the matrix code yet? I might give you a little bit of time to play around with that before I show you how to do it, just because I'm having a real chill session today. So yeah, have a look at the matrix code, have a play around with that one. I'll give you a few minutes and then I'll show off how to do it.
Can you give me a starting point for the matrix code, Alex? Because I'm completely lost.
I certainly can. Yep. So the starting point would be to go to Explore, Matrix Coding Query. And then what I was asking for in the little challenge was the attitudes and then the themes. So if I go to my codes here, you can see that I have an attitude code, but there's nothing in it, 0, 0. So I've got to open that up, and I want to take these 4 attitudes and I want to put them somewhere. And then I want to take my themes and I want to put them in the other place. And then I want to run that query. So there's a couple of ways to do that. I'll let you hopefully try and figure out how to do it. There's a plus symbol. It's a good way to look, but you can also drag them over as well. Has anyone had any luck with the matrix code?
Thought I was having luck and then I accidentally closed the tab. And
Oh
now I
no.
have to start again.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
lesson learned.
I do that all the time with my reading lists for my literature reviews. And,
Yeah.
I open up like 20 articles and then I'm like, I've read 4 of them. Well done. And I just close the whole thing and I'm like, I'm never finding those articles again, am I? Well, I'll go through how to do it just because I think there's a fun chance that we can kind of wrap up a little bit early if I do so, and I don't want to keep you longer than I have to. I love the matrix code. I love the matrix code so much that it blinded me from how good the framework matrix is. If we open up a little matrix code here, it is powerful. It's right NVivo, but you've got rows and you've got columns. And so what I want to do is take my attitudes, and I'm just holding down Shift here, and I'm going to drag them over into my rows. And then I'm going to take my key themes, and I'm just holding Control when I select these. And I'm going to drag them all over into my columns. Now, you can do this for codes and codes like I'm doing here. You can do this for codes and cases. You can do this for codes and files. Like, you can have pretty much any item in your project in any of these spaces. And what we're looking for, I'm happy to look through my entire project today because I know that a lot of the attitudes are stored in the survey data. And so I'm just going to make sure that I'm incorporating that because I think the results will be a little bit more like eminently interesting. And the other thing you can change is what the coding matrix is going to look for is by default, it's going to look for a direct overlap of these two codes. So it's going to be looking for example, some text that was coded to the neutral attitude and which was coded to community change. So it's looking for a direct match. You can change that. You can have it to be or, not, near, preceding, surrounding. Near is really useful. Particularly, I've done some media analysis and we coded a lot of the overall sentiment of a news article to the headline. So rather than coding the entire file, we just coded the headlines and then we coded specific data in those articles by using the near one, which gives you a bunch of flexibility. Like you can code near and make sure that it's just like in the entire item. So that's a really, really useful tool if you've got coding that is like quite separate textually, but exists within the same file. This can be a really, really useful little bit of functionality that I really like to just sort of like draw attention to. I'm just going to leave it at and today, and I'm going to run this query. It's going to take a little bit of time to run. But when you run a matrix code, what it's going to give you is a nice little table, very similar to the framework matrix that we have already examined. And it's going to give you a bunch of numbers instead of the texts. And what you can do is you can, and this is why I love it so much, is if you double click on any of these cells, so say I want to know all of the mixed comments about policy management, I can double click this cell and it will give me those 3 references. Okay, so here are my 3 mixed sentiment categories. This is fantastic. This is, like, for me, one of the most engaging ways for me to start to write the results up of my thesis, or any research that I'm doing. I think I've used matrix coding in pretty much every single time that I've had to write results, like looking for overlaps, having this really nice structured way of looking at my data. It's fantastic. Now, you might think that these are also like quantitative numbers, and in a sense they are. You don't need to report them as quantitative numbers, right? All of them are references that you've coded, and a reference can be as long as a sentence, as long as like an entire file, and as short as a single word. And so I wouldn't, conflate frequency with meaning in this case. But you can make a few little adjustments. You can turn on this nice little heat map function. So you can color code it, which can help draw your attention to particular areas. And you can also, and sometimes this can be quite useful, you can actually change what the numbers are there. So you could change to column percentage, where we would be able to identify that, okay, 66% of comments about the natural environment were negative, 53% about real estate development were negative. Again, all of these numbers come with lots of caveats, right? This isn't a quantitative methods course, but this can be a nice way of identifying particular meaningful patterns in your data using the matrix code. And I'll move on now just because it's 10:51. I want to give you time to enjoy the wonderful weather that we're experiencing today. And I want to, any questions before we move on? And I'm going to show you the cross table just towards the end there.
Yeah, a quick one, please, Alex. When you double clicked on a particular cell, I found that I couldn't tell what it was that I double clicked on once it was open.
Yeah,
How do you find that? Where is it?
It won't tell you in the code that you've opened. So there's nothing in here that tells you what it is. What it is really annoying. It's actually in this little heading up here. So if you hold over this, it is going to give you a little tooltip that'll tell you the overlap. So for this one, and it kind of disappears pretty quickly, but this is codes, attitudes, mixed, and then comma, codes, policy management. So this is the mixed sentiment for policy management. So that's how you can identify that if you kind of hover over it. It's a little bit annoying because it's not sort of immediately apparent. The Mac has it written at the top. Fantastic. Just another solid win when you can actually run the queries on the Mac version. But otherwise, right, you can just go back to these areas here. You can open them again and then just make a note of which one you've opened up and go from there. One of the things you can leave annotations, or you can highlight. You do a few things to sort of track them if you need to. But yeah, that's the matrix code. Oh, hello, Edna. She's awoken up from her nap. I was really hoping you'd walk on the table, but she's just too interested in the weather. All right. The final one that I want to show you is a cross table, and a cross table is very, very similar to a framework matrix. It's so similar, in fact, you can actually do everything that a cross table does. I'm pretty sure you can do it all in a framework, in a matrix code anyway. However, it's way more time consuming. So I like to show them off. So if we go to cross tab over here, this gives us the same kind of codes area that we had with our matrix code. However, it's got a different area on the right-hand side. So if I wanted to take my codes of the economy and my codes of the natural environment, and I wanted to see how those themes were distributed amongst people based on age group, I can run that query and it'll give me a table which tells me that, okay, of the 30 to 39-year-olds, right, 5 spoke about the economy, 5 spoke about the natural environment. Like, it's not unsurprising that we would see pretty much all of the codes represented here, right? Again, not a quantitative task. What we can then do, though, is we can say, okay, well, let's open up the ages 70 to 79 age group. Double click. We can open that up. and we can have a look at how they talk about the economy. And we can see, okay, like, they're talking about things like military school, how much, like, a lot of it's like historical fishing for them, things like that. And then we've got some of the survey responses. Now, it's just importantly with this survey responses, all of the survey responses were fabricated. And so you would not anticipate that there would be potentially too many meaningful responses here. But you can have a look at these and you can make a judgment. Okay, like we've got things like extinction, things like that. And then if we go and have a look at the younger age groups, so 30 to 39-year-olds, you can open this one up and you can have a look here as well, and see if there's any differences based on these factors. This is a question that I have been asked about NVivo for years, which is how to do something like this. So many studies that use qualitative methods tend to use it to examine different population groups. So whether that is, there's a lot of people that I have attend my training from the Faculty of Education who are looking at, teachers potentially in public schools and teachers in private schools, or teachers who are in like primary education, teachers in secondary education, teachers in rural schools, teachers in metropolitan schools, and they want to be able to compare the differences in narratives and differences in themes that may emerge in their projects. The cross table is the best way to do that. I love it. I don't use it all the time because I'm not always using cases and case classifications in all of my work. But when I have needed to, it's been fantastic. It doesn't just have to be for people. If you use file classifications, you can also use a cross table. So if you wanted to have it disseminated by, like, one of the things I've done is we were looking at coverage of the Murray-Darling Basin over the, over like a 10, 15-year period. And we were able to sort of separate out the different sentiments and the different themes based on the year that the article was published. And one of the interesting things that emerged from that was that you could then lay on top of that certain policy decisions and then subsequent coverage, which was really cool. And I love it. It's really, really useful. It relies on a couple of things. It relies on you using case classifications. It relies on you having cases that have enough data coded to them that they have those intersections with these themes. And naturally, it also relies on you having used the codes area as well. But I love this. It's one of my favorite features. I love teaching it. I love talking about it because I think that it can answer a whole range of research questions that are very difficult to answer manually. Like, it is difficult to look at, the 20 interviews that you've conducted and say, okay, like, what are the differences between, this group and this group, just by eyeballing it. It's really hard. You'll have some understanding, which is why you would run this query in the first place. Like, you wouldn't run this query if you weren't expecting there to be something interesting. But this gives you an excellent interface to then say, okay, I am going to write about this, and then I'm going to structure my writing in this way, and I'm going to talk about this. Fantastic. Absolutely love it. Can't talk about it enough. Any questions about the framework matrix? Or, sorry, the matrix code. I still get them confused. Any questions about the matrix code or the cross table?
Alex, I think I've done that correctly, but interesting. So I did it against age, but then it's come up with age unknown, and it's okay. It's got 0 in there because I'm thinking I've entered age for every single one of my participants, but that's okay. I didn't actually look at what the data was in that, but it will still come up with age unknown as an option, will it?
Yeah, it will. So NVivo does include an unassigned and not applicable category to all of the attributes that you create.
Gotcha.
But
yeah.
If you've created your own, then you can't really exclude it, so it'll still show up in the results, which is not the end of the world.
Yeah. That's okay.
Perfect.
When I first looked at it, I thought,
Yeah.
why has it got data but doesn't? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Brilliant. Alrighty. So
Alex, with the drop down where it says attributes.
Yep.
So you're searching against attributes. Codes are attributes, right?
no. So
No.
these are not codes. So attributes are what we have done in part 2. So these attributes are case classifications. So
Oh, that's right, yep.
yeah,
And
so
then if you ran the crosstabs against the codes,
you can't run
that's
across.
cases, I mean to
Yep.
say, then it's a almost a broader set.
So you can't run a cross table against just a case. You'd have to use a
I was
matrix code
looking
for
at
that.
the
Yeah.
attributes drop down. So
Yep.
the one that's to the left of where you're scrolling and up. That
Oh,
one.
yes. Yeah. If you wanted to do it by, yeah, you can. I don't find that particularly compelling.
Just so I
You
understand,
can
when
do
you're
this exact thing in a matrix code. So, if you wanted to do codes against cases, you can do that in a matrix code. I would
database,
Yeah.
only really use a cross table for
databases,
this. Yeah, sorry.
data
I feel like I was
code.
like super
Thank
severe
you.
in that response as well of like, you just can't do it. You can, but I don't think it's as useful as as the other functionality that we get. It would give you broader results though. You're right. Perfect. All right. So it is 11 a.m. So I am going to wrap up today's class so we can all head off and enjoy some morning tea. I am going to pet Edna. She's in for it. She's just looking way too cute. She's just watching the rain. It's ridiculous. As per usual, I would love it if you filled out the feedback form. It keeps me going. I'll post it in the chat so that you have a chance to fill it in. Leaving any comments that you like, constructive, negative. Don't call me irritating. Someone did that once. They did it years ago, and I haven't forgiven them. Just be nice, be gentle, and all of that good stuff. And by today, oh, screen sharing paused. Ridiculous. Today, what we've learned is we have looked at some specific technical skills, right? Looking at text searches, word frequency, cross table, and matrix coding queries. But also, I hope that we've looked at those kind of more foundational skills of like how we can get there in the first place. Looking at things like parameters, looking at how we need to structure our project, how we can use the sample project as kind of like a fun little playground for ourselves, and then how we can also save and recall those queries at a later date if we need to. Tomorrow, we're going to look at visualizations, and I will admit that visualizations are a bit of a pet peeve of mine in NVivo. I don't love them much. I think that the queries are fantastic, and I think that the visualizations are not particularly compelling. So I may be in a bit of a bad mood. I probably won't be because I got other stuff going on in my life rather than just NVivo's visualizations functions. But just be aware that I am not a huge advocate for the visualizations in NVivo. I think they're quite cumbersome, and I will be talking quite critically about how you can still use them, but without kind of engaging with them in as direct a way as you might otherwise have expected me, especially given the first 4 parts. Still really good. It's a really nice end to it. There should be some advanced sessions. I haven't booked them in just yet, but there will be some coming up on literature reviews and data sets and collaboration that I'm going to pencil in. I am hoping to run like a shut up and code session where you just show up and just do some qualitative coding, and a bunch of researchers will be there, I hope, and you can just bounce ideas off of them working on your projects and just sort of like troubleshoot any issues you're having with NVivo. And then also, if you would like access to any of the recordings are available on our nice little Slack channel there that you can join with your staff credentials or student credentials. There is an NVivo channel that you can join, and in that channel, there are all of the most recent recordings as well as historic recordings as well. So if you've been watching the recording, thanks for watching. I'm going to end it now, and then other fine people can ask as many questions as they like. Thanks, everyone.